Hello, welcome back. In the last lesson, we learned about data types. In this lesson, we are going to build a full functional calculator. Now, there are going to be some limitations we are going to face that will make our calculator not to be a full GUI calculator. But it's just going to be the same logic and same process, just like what we built in the Scratch series. Let's dive in. Alright, so let's get into the code, but before I do that, I'm going to zoom in and I want to show you the reason why we can't have a full GUI calculator just like we did for the Scratch series. So take for example, if I switch to blocks, if I go to events, we have some events like when the sprite is clicked, right? And that event is very useful when it comes to creating a full GUI calculator because we literally use our mouse to click on a button and you see the numbers appears. And we also have stuff like visible variables, right, that we can see at the top, but we don't really have that for the Python environment. I did a lot of research about that, and if you come across anything that will be helpful to me, maybe I was wrong, there's actually a Python function for that I do not know of in PictoBlox environment, please let me know in the comment section. All right, thank you. So I'm going to go to variables and just uncheck that, and let's get back to the Python environment. Now let's start building. So the first thing we want to put down is that we want a while loop. The reason is because we are going to be running this program continuously. So the first thing we want to do is to use an input. We want an input where the user can type in something. So we can say sprite.input, there's an input function, and I'm going to say enter the first number, then in parentheses I'm going to say or type quit to exit. All right, so this is what I'm going to put down here. So if I run this, let's see what happens when I run this. Not running yet. Once you start running, we're supposed to get an input. Yeah, so let's type in a number. All right, so we're typing a number. We don't want to stop there, so I'm going to stop this code. We don't just want to stop here. We want to store it in a variable, right? So the next thing we are going to do is that we are going to go below this code and we are going to create a variable called first input. Let's assign this to sprite.answer, right? You can get the answer that has been typed from here. Okay, so now let's run that again and let's see. Probably I need to print this out just so you see it works. And let's say 1. Let's just stop this code and rerun it. Let's rerun it. By the time it starts running, we're supposed to get a feedback here. Yeah, so I think it's running now. Yeah, so you can see I'm printing first input and we get 1. So you can see it here on the terminal. So I'll stop the code. I'll leave the print statement, but let's proceed. So the first thing we want to do is that we want to write a condition for exit, right? We want to write a condition for exit, and we are going to see some syntax in Python that does something that we have not talked about, right? And that's the beauty of building projects. So the first thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to say if first input handle the exit condition dot lower. So there's a text method that we can use to make sure everything typed in here that is a text should be lowercase. So we want to say dot lower equals to quit. Then what do we want to do? We are going to say sprite dot say. We are going to say calculator close. Goodbye. Alright, and we're going to keep this for the screen for just 2 seconds. Remember this say function, we can tell the function how long we want to keep the message on the screen. Now after that, we need to stop the loop because this is a loop. This loop will continue to run unless we stop it. So we need to say break, and this break will stop the loop. Alright, so let's give a space here and let's run this code again. So I'll clear the terminal and let's click on run. Let's wait for this to run. Once it's running, I get a blink here to just let me know that this is running. We kept the input here from the beginning when we started running this. Okay, let me try. If it's running, we'll definitely get it printed here. Yeah, so it's running. Now let's say quit. To show you that this dot lower function is truly working, I'm going to do quit like this, and it's going to convert everything to lowercase. Yeah, so calculator closed, goodbye. Alright, so now that we have been able to create a logic to exit the calculator, the next thing we are going to do is that we need to convert the string input, because each time you see that input box right here, everything it brings is that it brings a data type of string. So we need to convert it into a float so we can perform operations with it, right? And just watch the way I'm going to handle this. I'm going to use something called a try catch block or try except block in Python. In some programming language, you can hear the word try catch. So I'm going to say try, and then let's say num1, so for the first number, right, equals to float, and we're going to put first input. And remember I showed you how to check the data type of the value of a variable. You can do that to check what is stored inside this first input, and you see that it gives us a string. Okay, and now let's go to except, and we're going to say except, and we're going to put a value error. So because I'm just bringing try and except into this video, I think in the next video I'm going to dedicate a lesson to it. I'm going to talk about it so you get a good understanding of it. But for now, I just want you to follow along, right? So I'm going to catch the error by putting the name of the error here. This is a value error that will occur, and we're going to say sprite. Let's just say sprite.say, and let's say invalid number, and say please that's over. And this time we're going to keep it for 2 seconds just like we did, but we're not going to break the loop, because let's say they are supposed to type in a number and they type TWO2, right? We want to show them this value error and we want to continue the program. We don't want to break the loop just like we're doing here. So for that, we are going to say continue. I hope this makes sense. We are going to say continue. Now let's test this and so you see what I'm trying to explain. If I run this program to run, once it starts running, you get the inputs appearing at the bottom here. Yeah, so let's say TWO2, right? If if I click it, we are going to get invalid number, start all over again. So, and now we have the chance to type in a real number, right? So now have the chance to type in a real number. So if I click this, yeah, so we are not doing anything with the number for now. We actually need to do something with it. So I hope this makes sense. Now, so let's move on. So now we need to ask for a mathematical operator, right? Because in a calculator, we're either doing plus, minus, multiplication, or divide, right? So I'm going to move down. Let's put some comments here so we can know what we are doing at each step. So the first step is the exit condition. So let's say exit condition. The second step here is where we are catching an error if a text is passed into the input box instead of a number. So, but for here, let's say convert the string input to float. And now, just above the except, let's say catch error. Let's just say catch invalid value error. Okay, because that's literally what we are doing. We are catching the error and telling the user that they are giving us an invalid input. We should put a valid number so we can continue instead of the program just breaking. If we don't catch it, that error is going to break the program. That's the essence of using try and catch. Okay, so now let's do some calculations. Let's ask for the operator. Let's say ask for mathematical don't know how to spell operator. And let's say sprite. So we're going to now call another input, sprite.input. Before then, let me stop this program, right? I want to stop it. It says sprite.input, and the message we are going to put this time is enter an operator. So in parentheses, let's put all the operators that the user can enter. So let's say plus, and let's do minus, and let's do multiplication, which is just asterisk, and we're going to do /, which is for divide, right? And then let's store it in a variable called operator, and let's say sprite.answer. So I know this is a little bit confused, but each time we call a new input and put sprite.answer, it's going to get the immediate value of the closest input. So imagine we put enter a number here, it's going to get the value of this input, and when we enter an operator here, it's going to get the value of this input. So the last input that just fired, that's what the sprite.answer is going to hold, right? That makes sense. That's why we're storing the values in a variable so they can persist. Okay, so now let's ask for the second input. So I'm going to copy this one just so I don't have to type everything. Let's ask for second input right here, or second number rather. Let's paste this and say sprite.input and say enter the second number. Second number, and let's remove this or type exit to, yeah, let's enter the second number, and let's put a comment here that says ask for second number. All right. So now we have to do the calculation, or let's just run this and we're going to stop here. So this video is becoming too long and I don't want it to be long, so we're going to stop at this point where we are asking for the second number, and we also need to do error handling for this second number as well. And in the next video we are going to move to calculating everything and giving us a result, right? So I don't want this video to be very long, it's already becoming too long. Now let's just do the error handling just like we did for this. So let's say try and say num2 equals to float, and let's say I need to change this to second input. If not, it's going to override the first input we have there at the top. Let's say float, and let's type in second input, and then let's do accept, and let's say sprite. So we need to pass in the value error, just forgot that, the value error, and let's say sprite dot say. Let's go grab the invalid number. Let's grab the message. Let's grab everything there and let's paste here. And remember, we want to say continue, right? So the program does not break. Okay. All right. So now let's run this program and see for ourselves. To run, let's create the terminal. Let's see if it's working. I'm going to say 1, not working yet. Working is going to print the first input. Okay, so it's working now. So we are going to, so it's saying enter the second number, and all right, so we are not doing anything. We are entering the first number, entering the second number, but we are not yet doing anything to calculate. So, and we are not yet checking the operator to calculate. We have to check the operator for the correct operator. So we are going to stop here, and in the next video we are going to continue from where we stop. Now, before you leave, I want you to save this program. Else, you are going to do it. Click on File and click Save, and you're going to download it to your computer. So I'm going to call this Python calculator. Alright, so that's it for this video. In the next video, I'm going to see you and we're going to continue from where we stop. Now, before you leave, make sure you click on the subscribe button, you click on the like button, and you share this video with anybody who is interested in learning how to code. And if you would like to see a full GUI calculator built with just Scratch, you can check this Scratch series and see how we did that. We're going to add the link to that video on the description. See you. Bye.